Irish guy, and Chelsea are moving mad. Have you ever seen a football club just ruthlessly emptying their squad like this? Look at all the players who are leaving Stamford Bridge. Look at the money they're about to earn. I mean, look at Arsenal tying up a deal for Kai Havertz. More on that weird transfer later in the video. But first of all, to put it in context just how weird all of this is, look at Chelsea starting 11 from the Champions League final in 2021. I mean, by the end of the transfer window, I reckon Chelsea would have officially got rid of 9 lads. Edouard Mendy, who back then was supposed to be an absolute superhero in goal for the club. The guy had arrived from Rennes in France, so surely he was gonna go on to have the same legacy as Peter Cech. Nope. Sold to Al Ahly, where he gets to play alongside legendary Mujo Barrow, you know, formerly of Swansea, Reading and Junbuck Hyundai Motors. This was a goalkeeper who was working in the French River Island at 22, probably having to steal coins from his mammy's purse just so he could afford the bus to work, and now he's going to be earning so much money he could probably afford to employ Fogden as a slave. Who else? Antonio Rudiger, a colossal centre-back hero of Stamford Bridge. No, he's gone last summer to Real Madrid on a free. And N'Golo Kante, gone to Al Ittihad. Jorginho and Kai Havertz have both gone to Arsenal. Timo Werner gone back to RB Leipzig. Mason Mount, fresh from having seen his stalker avoid prison, right now he's probably closing his curtains and sleeping in the tub armed with a hammer in his sock. But yeah, even he looks like he's off to Manchester United, and I wouldn't be shocked to see veteran Cesar Azpilicueta flushed out the door after 11 years at the club. Even the guys who came off the bench that night. Andreas Christensen has since moved to Barcelona. Mateo Kovacic is now at Manchester City, while Christian Pulisic is probably going to leave too. I mean, look at the bench. Yes, Kepa Arrizabalaga stuck around, but Marcos Alonso has also moved to Barcelona. Willy Caballero is at Southampton number 3. Kurt Zouma currently kicks cats outside West Ham. Olivier Giroud has quit for AC Milan. Hakim Ziyech is signing for Al Nassr. Even the future of Chelsea, Billy Gilmore, is a Brighton player. And again, like Mount, is probably terrified that he's going to come home from work to discover that a TikTok star has broken into his house to boil bunnies in the sink. Oh yeah, and finally, Callum Hudson-Odoi. Even he's been approached by multiple Saudi clubs. By the end of this transfer window, I reckon that of that 23-man Champions League winning squad, 19 players will have been sold, and the manager is also long gone. The only survivors from that night in Portugal will be Thiago Silva, Reece James, Ben Chilwell and Kepa. Lads, have you ever seen a Champions League winning squad broken up as quickly as this? Lads, we've seen how Jack Grealish and friends celebrated their Champions League win this month. I mean, admittedly, yes, those Chelsea players are probably a bit of a boring bunch who celebrated their 2021 win by, I don't know, playing Monopoly on the plane ride home. I mean, maybe the English lads pushed the boat out and played a game of truth or dare in Cabos, with Chilwell divulging a secret about that time he kissed a dog when he was 12. But still, this squad delivering a Champions League crown to Chelsea. They should have been an immortal team of heroes, worshipped forever in West London. But no, they've all split up quicker than a Love Island romance. I mean, I'm assuming. I've never seen the show, thank the Lord. To be fair though, Chelsea have done this before. When they won the Champions League against Bayern Munich in 2012, then yeah, within 2 years, Peter Cech was at Arsenal, Josie Basingo was at Trabzonspor, David Luiz was at PSG, Ashley Cole was at Roma, Frank Lampard was at Man City, Juan Mata was at Man United, Solomon Kalou was at Hertha Berlin, Ryan Bertrand was at Southampton, Didier Drogba was at Galatasaray, Ross Turnbull was at Barnsley, Paulo Ferreira was retired, Michael Essien was at AC Milan, Oriol Romeo was at Stuttgart, Flor Maluda was at Metz, Fernando Torres was at AC Milan, Daniel Sturridge was at Liverpool, and Romelu Lukaku was at Everton. For some reason, Chelsea like to treat their Champions League winners as if they were lepers who eat cat food in their sandwiches. I realise that 2 years is a long time, but I'm sorry, look at Manchester City's starting 11 from that Champions League final defeat. 8 of the 11 who started are still at the club. That is called stability. Chelsea are absolutely flushing everyone out the door, although look at the money the players they sold are now earning. I'm gonna say this, that Chelsea Champions League winning squad from 2021 are gonna be hands down the richest Champions League winners of all time. What? You don't believe me? Mendy was offered a disrespectful 6-year contract at Chelsea on lower wages. No. He's now going to be earning £400,000 a week to become the best paid goalkeeper of all time. Azpilicueta takes home a bag of £180,000 a week. Thiago Silva is on £110,000 a week, and he's nearly 40. Rudiger earns £155k a week at Real Madrid. James is on £250,000 a week. Chilwell is on wages of £200,000. Jorginho earns £110k at Arsenal. I mean, Kante now takes home £3 million a week. Like, What? Havertz is going to command £210,000 at Arsenal. To put it in context, just how nutty football has got it. Thierry Henry used to take home £112,000 a week at his peak. That is half of what Havertz is getting. I mean, even Werner earns £165k a week in Germany. I mean, if Mount makes the move to Manchester United, then he'll be on wages of £250,000 a week. Surely. Even the guys who are on that Chelsea bench. Kepa's on £150k a week. Marcos Alonso has somehow signed a £100k a week contract at a supposedly broke Barcelona. Similarly, Christensen earns £150,000 a week at the new camp. Zuma takes home £120k a week at West Ham. Ziyech will be earning over £200,000 a week at Al Nassr. Kovacic will be making about £130,000 a week at the Etihad. Even Emerson Palmieri, the Chelsea cheerleader, has somehow landed himself a £95k a week deal at West Ham. And if the likes of Pulisic and Hudson Odoi go to the Saudi Pro League 2, then lads, this 23-man squad will, next season, likely be earning a combined wage of £7 million a week. I mean, really, Kante earns nearly half of that alone. Honestly, that man is going to spend the rest of his days living like a prince. Look, the Chelsea players have quit Stamford Bridge this summer. You know what? Fair play, because this is a team who had an absolutely revolting season. What club do you know is able to finish 12th in the Premier League and yeah, recoup about £200 million in sales? And similarly, for these players to be rewarded for a season of absolute incompetent filth with huge monster paydays? Ziyech is a man who I would imagine probably hates Chelsea with a passion. I mean, he had a loan move to PSG tied up on the winter deadline day, only for it to collapse because some incompetent bloke bungled the submission of the documents at the last minute. I mean, they call it an administrative error, but I would not be surprised at all if it was just some fat bloke who just spilled Pepsi on the forms or accidentally deleted the emails from PSG while swiping Tinder on his phone. I mean, lads, that same week, Ziyech had been linked with the move to Everton to play under Frank Lampard. So when his agent rang about PSG, he probably nearly wet the bed. Ziyech was literally given a once-in-a-lifetime chance to play with Lionel Messi. He was probably salivating over that very thought. But because Chelsea ruined that move for him, he's instead just going to go and be mates with Ronaldo instead. And for double his money too. Ziyech will earn £10 million a year out in Saudi, but that is nothing compared to Kalidou Koulibaly, who, I'm sorry, his agent deserves a knighthood because he's now on a 3-year deal worth £28 million a year. This is centre half who was on £180,000 a week at Napoli, then moves to Chelsea, and despite being 31, somehow managed to broker a 4-year contract worth £295,000 a week. That was a dream deal. I mean, no matter his form, no matter if he did defend like a baked potato in a Chelsea shirt, he could literally just sit in the reserves and pick up nearly £300k a week until he's 35. The pressure was off. I thought Chelsea would never shift him out the door. Then he'd be another Winston Bogarde or Timu Bakayoko. If you had told him last summer that he would voluntarily quit within 12 months, he'd have thought, no chance. It'd be like the Joker choosing to set fire to that big pile of cash. No way would he sacrifice this huge payday, because no other club in the world would be stupid enough to pay him that much, surely. Wrong. Because for the next 3 years, he's earning £500,000 every single week. He is earning more than double the money of Virgil van Dijk. Never in the history of the Premier League has a flop been instantly rewarded with such a gigantic pay rise. Never, ever, ever, ever. It doesn't happen. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang seems to be dragging his heels over a move to the Saudi Pro League because he's still holding out for a dream move back to Barcelona. Even though he promised his granddad he'd one day play for Real Madrid. Yeah, sure changed his tune. But I mean, sorry Pierre, look at Ruben Neves. That man was also pining for a move to the new camp, but got tired of waiting too, and now look at him. He's earning £300k a week after tax in Saudi, which is the equivalent of earning around £600,000 a week in England. Absolutely nutty. Even Matt Doherty is getting a bag in the Saudi Pro League. Look, I can understand Lukaku turning down this move, but Aubameyang is literally a 34-year-old man and a complete, finished, expired milkshake in European football. Just go get that bag. But who else? Both Havertz and Kovacic, after below par seasons, are still getting transfers to the 2 best teams in the nation. I know Havertz is still only 24 years old. He is young. But are this club not scarred by signing Chelsea castoffs? I'm gonna name the players they've signed from this club. Which of these have actually been successful at the Gunners? Jorginho, Willian, David Luiz, Peter Cech, Yossi Benayoun, Lassana Diarra, William Gallas. I've just named 7 flops in a row. None of these transfers have worked. None. I mean, to be fair, Gallas had his moments, but he was also one of those petulant Arsenal captains of all time. He was the Granit Xhaka problem child of 2008, so you can't tell me there isn't a curse. Chelsea give Arsenal busted tools which no longer work. I actually thought Jorginho was an expert buy in January, and something that would break this curse. But aside from a last-minute fluke goal against Aston Villa, what has he really done? He's played 16 times for Arsenal, 6 of them were defeats. I mean, Havertz where does he fit? This is just another example of a big name Chelsea footballer rocking up at the Emirates and failing. Honestly, imagine going back just 3 years to the summer of 2020. Havertz was signing for Chelsea in a £70 million deal, while Aubameyang just won the Golden Boot at Arsenal and they had both goals in that FA Cup final win over Chelsea. Imagine telling someone that in just over 30 months, these two would have swapped clubs. It's weird. Mason Mount is a fellow who's been on Chelsea's books since 2005. He was the homegrown hero who helped you win the Champions League. And now he's just gonna be sold to Man United for what? 60 million quid? When Juan Mata made this move in 2014, sure, it probably hurt the Chelsea fans, but I mean, he'd only been at Stamford Bridge for 2.5 years. Mount's been at Chelsea for nearly 20 years. I mean, come on. I mean, look at the ins. Christopher Nkunku has arrived from RB Leipzig for £50 million. I mean, did Pochettino want him? Who cares? You've got him anyway. Shopping from the same club who sold you a big money flop just 3 years ago. The club have apparently agreed terms with Villarreal forward Nicholas Jackson, who's going to tie up a £30 million move. Lads, this guy nearly joined Bournemouth in January, only for a snapped hamstring to spoil the medical. There are not enough words to describe all the ways that Jackson is going to fail at Chelsea. He scored 12 goals for Villarreal last season. That was his breakout year. Great! But he's 22! The same age as Mikhailo Mudryk, who only just burst on the scene. These are not teenagers. These are grown men, late bloomers who are really not worth the cash. I mean, they're in a pole position to tie up a deal from Caicedo from Brighton. I suppose that's a clever replacement for N'Golo Kante. So that's probably a sensible deal, but Jackson? Selling Mount and Havertz, the whole thing is just bizarre. Anyway, that's the end of it. Let me know, because what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about all these deals that Chelsea are doing? Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe as always. I'll talk to you in a while.